Ram, Suprabhatam. Sarvebhyah Hritpurvakam Swagatam. Namaste to everybody. Humble pranams and welcome to our chief guest, Shri Vinay Mahodaya. With the blessings of our Guru, Bhagavan, elders and well-wishers, we have gathered here for the Samarpanam, the conclusion session of Learn to Chant Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Let's begin with the Mangalam. Gurureva gatir gurumeva bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na gurof paramam shishurasmi guroh matirasti gurau mama pahi guro yogena tasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. On behalf of the entire Vyoma family, I feel blessed to extend my heartfelt welcome to our chief guest for the day, Shri Vinay Siddhaya Mahodaya, Swagatam Mahodaya, and welcome to all the learners and Jnanavriddhas present with us here. We are very grateful to our teacher, Sriprada Indrakanti Bhagini, for having inspired us to learn the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali every day for the last 3 weeks, with special emphasis on the nuances of pronunciation. We'd all love to hear about this journey from you. Request you to share your experience with us, Bhagini.
Ram, Suprabhatam. Sarvebhyah Namaskaram. I really enjoyed teaching the students throughout the session. It was a very warming experience because the students would every day show up to the class at 6 a.m. and also would actively participate in the revision sessions. And I really would thank Prithvi Bhagini for all her support throughout the session, for conducting special revision classes on Sadhana Pada and Samadhi Pada as well. And also, I would like to share a few details of the course. It had started on December 13th, and when we had launched the course initially, we had around 62 participants registered. And on the day of the course starting, December 13th, we had 344 registrations. Now the registrations are around 501. So we had a constant attendance, which was around 45 to 50 students. And I'm sure many more were following up on the YouTube sessions of the live videos. And regarding the assessments, we will be having both Kanthapata and Parayana. So Kanthapata is the memorization part, and Parayana would be the fluent readers. So the students have the option of doing either, and the assessment will be conducted on February 1st. Now, I would like to request the students to do the Samarpanam. I will call on 3 students. Each can chant 3 sutras each. So I'll just share my screen. V. Mahodaya. You can unmute yourself. Bhavani Sundar Bhagini.
Ram.
Ram Mahodaya.
At the beginning.
Yes.
From this one.
Yes, you can start, Mahodaya, from the slide.
अथ योगानुशासनम् योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुस्वरूपेऽवस्थानम्.
Thank you, Mahodaya. Dhanyawad.
Thank you.
Chakradhar Mahodaya, you can unmute yourself.
Ram.
Ram Mahodaya.
Vritti sarupyamitaratta vrittayah panchatayah klishtaah pramana viparyaya vikalpanidra smritayah.
Thank you, Mahodaya. Shankar Mahodaya.
Ram.
Ram.
Pratyakshyanumanagamah pramanani viparyayo mityajnanamatatrupa pradishtham shabdajnananupati vastu shunyo vikalpaha. Dhanyawad. Ram.
Dhanyawad. Ram.
Dhanyawadaha Bhagini. It was indeed a wonderful learning experience. So before we request our Honorable Chief Guest to address us, I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words about our distinguished guest of the day. Shri Vinay Siddhaya Mahodaya has worked as a principal engineer in leading MNCs such as Western Digital, SanDisk, Intel, and Wipro before commencing his transformational journey in yoga. After teaching yoga for 10 years, along with his IT job, he has completely dedicated his life to spreading the science of yoga now. An internationally certified trainer who has in-depth knowledge of yogic science, anatomy, biomechanics, and philosophy, he holds a master's degree in yoga, is an RYT 500 certified teacher from the Yoga Alliance, and a certified yoga therapist from the Ministry of Ayush. He is the founder of Yoga Vijnana, the Center for Yoga, Therapy and Research, and also the managing trustee of Yoga Vijnana Foundation. Located in Chandra Layout, Bangalore, both these organizations are working towards spreading yogic science. He has been teaching yoga since 2010 and so far has trained over 2,000 practitioners worldwide. We are blessed to have you here amidst us, Mahodaya. Over to you now.
Right, Ram, Shubhodaya everyone. Thank you so much, Prithvi Bhagini and Sriprada Bhagini for the lovely introduction. And I'm so happy to be in the morning because this is a early morning session on Yoga Sutra chanting. So what better it could be? Okay. So, and I'm here to just share some insights, some limited knowledge, whatever I have to share with all of you. We all have it's last from last close to 15-20 days, we all have done the Shravana part of the Yoga Sutras now. The Shravana is done and we are all able to listen, chant, everything is done. And now the next two phases of our the studies of any scriptures, right? The Manana, Nididhyasana. And that is something which is a lifetime journey for all of us. So we are just not ending here, although it is a ending program for the Sutra chanting itself. but this is the beginning for a lifelong journey that we have in front of us to understand the essence of Yoga Sutra and to make it part of our life. So as already some of you know the chanting and you know what exactly is the main, the essence of yoga itself. So nowadays, many of us think yoga is all about some physical practices. So that's what we all consider it, right? So, but we all know that at least from the chanting perspective, the second sutra itself says, Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So what exactly they're saying is, it's all about controlling the mind. So for yoga, it's just mind. So because even in the olden days, we had some science for Ayurveda to take care of our physical body. And yoga started after learning Ayurveda itself. It was like you prepare your body first, and then you start the practice of yoga, which is your mind control. And once they start that journey, and depending on the kind of intensity of the practitioners, because some practitioners could be at a very advanced level of their sadhana, and some practitioners could be at a very basic level of sadhana. So depending on the maturity of the practitioner, so the Patanjali has beautifully given us the science of how to control the mind. The first adhyaya, which is all about samadhi pada, right? Because yeah, please come. All right, one thing before I start to continue, right? This is the yoga center, and we have practitioners coming. Today is a practice day, so people keep coming and doing their own practices. So in the background, please don't mind about that. Okay. All right. So the first adhyaya was talking, right? Samadhi pada itself. So there he says it's for the people who are already matured in their chitta vrittis, or controlling the chitta vritti nirodha. That's like a highest level of the practitioners, right? Because he didn't want to waste any time for those who are already in that stage where they can actually control the mind. So for them, he just gives two things: abhyasa vairagya bhyanthan nirodha. That's what he's trying to say, right? Abhyasa and vairagya. So practice whatever you're already doing, your chitta vritti practices, continue the practice, and then you focus on detachment, vairagya. So these are the practice which probably only the people who are already in the practice can understand this. For others, it's like I don't know what is practice. We don't even know what is practice. That kind of a thought process, right? And next he goes on to say, and he explains all about samadhi and everything. And the next, somewhere in between, you can say madhyamadhikari, right? So for somewhere middle level practitioners, he gives the practice of tapaswadhyayeshwara pranidhanani kriya yoga. So this is about the kriya yoga practice, tapaswadhyaya ishwara pranidhana. He just gives 3 steps for the practice for somebody who is at a medium level. Like, yeah, you can just somehow manage with these kind of practices. But for us, like for most of us who are seeking yoga, soaking yoga sutras, we can just say that we're all like taking baby steps into it, and we're all like beginners in this entire journey of learning yoga sutra or practicing yoga itself, right? It's a long journey for us. So for us, he goes on to say in the second chapter a little later, yama niyama asana pranayama pratyahara dharana dhyana samadayo ashtavangani. So he gives us the concept of Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is a very matured concept, I can say, because this is something which can cater to all the extremes of audience, right from a beginner who is absolutely not sure about his practice to somebody who is into advanced level of practice. It is something which caters to everyone. And if I explain the logic of understanding this Ashtanga Yoga itself, it's so beautifully brought out. You can say the goal of Patanjali was very clear: chitta vritti nirodha. How do you control the mind? How do you kind of stop the modifications of the mind? And then, in order to do that, he first asks the question: what is actually disturbing my mind? He looks around and he sees, oh, now my social interactions is going to disturb my mind. So how do I do? What do I do that now? Now for that he says, ahimsa satyasteya brahmacharya parigraha yamaha. So he says, follow yamas. Yama is nothing but your social disciplines that we are going to follow. So for example, Satya or Asteya. Satya is again as simple as truthfulness. Asteya is your abstain from the stealing. Why is he saying this, right? It's as simple as this. If you don't follow this, your mind is going to be disturbed. Say an example, if you take, if you want to go and tell a lie, you should think a lot, because telling truth is easy. Like you just go, say it, come back, finish it off. But if you want to go and tell a lie, you should think, how do I do that? What should I do? How do I execute it? And then how do I remember it? Because if you meet the same person after 20 years, you should remember the lie. And now just imagine how much of your chitta vrittis are all churned out because of all that is going on, right? So that's why he says, follow these. I'm just not going to go to the depth of all of these emas in the interest of the time that I have given. So, but in general, this is the idea, right? Concept. So that when you follow this thing, then naturally your mind calms down. That is the first step of the practice of Ashtanga Yoga itself. And next he goes on to say, now that I have taken care of my surroundings, now what do I do? Now there is some discipline which I have to follow. It's personal discipline, right? And there he explains, Shaucha Santosha Tapaswadhya Ishvara Pranidhanani Niyamaha. Again he gives 5 things. And again it's all to understand Saucha, cleanliness, Santosha, happiness, contentment. See, it's logical to think also, right? If you think of it, now you're listening to my lecture, and if imagine that you are hungry now, and you're sitting at home listening to my lecture, and your wife or somebody in your home, husband, starts cooking something nice, aromatic thing. Now what happens? You'll just pause the meeting, you just go and grab something and come and sit, because that smell, the senses that you get, is going to catch you there immediately. Or if instead of that nice smell, is imagine that there is some very bad smell comes to your place, even that is going to disturb the mind. Or even the cleanliness of your place itself, in case if your place is not kept clean, as simple as that, right? Even that is going to disturb the mind. And that's why if you want to really control the mind, the first thing is to keep your place clean. First, keep yourself clean more than anything. So keep yourself clean, and then the surroundings clean, and the entire place clean. So when the cleanliness starts there, so naturally your mind is not disturbed, because your mind is much calmer in a place which is much cleaner. Okay, this is example, right? Just Saucha example. So like this, we can kind of go on to build on this concept of niyama itself. So once we have done all these yama niyamas, next he goes on to say asanas. And he doesn't, asanas, when I say asanas, right, it is not, don't think about all these complicated asanas that we do in the practice of Hatha Yogic tradition, right? So all for Patanjali, it's all at sthira sukham asanam. So what he says, because if you look at the historical thing, Patanjali came much before Hatha Yogic tradition itself. Because all these Nath tradition that we have for the practice of Hatha Yoga that we are all following nowadays for the practice of yoga, or in the name of yoga, right? It came much later in the way we know it today. But for Patanjali, long back, for him, asana is a stable, comfortable sitting posture. That's it. Because as long as you're not able to sit or maintain that comfortable posture, your mind is again disturbed. Because imagine that you are sitting and meditating and your back starts paining, or your neck is paining, or your legs will go numb, or your buttocks are paining. You cannot sit on the floor itself. Now just think of the state of the mind now. Your mind cannot control, because you are suffering from pain everywhere in your physical body. So that's why he says, no, you should practice these asanas so that your mind is not disturbed. Again, asana practice is not just a physical practice. The goal of asana practice is also the same. Chitta vritti nirodha. That's the goal of even practicing asanas also. Next he goes on. He says, now that I've taken care of my body also, now there should be some medium where I can focus on calming the mind. And that medium that he gives is pranayama. Tasmin sati shwasa prashwasayor gati vichchedaf pranayamaha. Again, he says, tasmin sati, after having established in the practice of asana, now you are ready for the practice of pranayama. Okay, that's such a nice way to progress you, right? So now that you are sitting, now you can practice on focusing on your breath. Now what happens? Moment you bring your attention to your breath, your mind calms down. You can just try it out, right? Whenever your mind is disturbed or whenever you're angry on somebody, just sit quietly and focus on your breath for a few minutes or a few seconds. And naturally that the whole emotions that you're going through, right, it calms down. Your mind calms down. And that's the reason why he says go and practice the practice of pranayama so that your mind is not disturbed. Now, is that enough? Then you ask the question now. We are constantly getting inputs from different sources, because what we are today is dictated or directed by all the senses that we are that is input feeding us input. So there he says you practice what is called pratyahara. Swavishaya samprayoge chittasya swarupanukaraivendriyanam pratyaharaha. It's nothing but withdrawal of your senses, because your senses are always outwardly and your senses are feeding you the information. So he says, don't allow that to happen. Now you just wonder, it's a very high-tech word, how do we do that? Like, because we are always outbound, the senses are meant for that purpose only. How do we even withdraw the senses? It's like very difficult to understand this concept, right? So it's very easy if you understand an example that I'm going to give you, right? See, imagine that you're focusing on something. You're completely focusing on my lecture now. And if somebody in your home calls you, or even if somebody is cooking, but now what happens if somebody calls your name? Definitely the physical media of air with the particles will bring that voice to your ears. It will just fall on your ears for sure. And then the eardrum will also vibrate because it's again a physical media. Now when the eardrum vibrates, there is this nerve, the auditory nerve, which goes and connects to your brain. Even that is also active because again it's a physical media. And now the magic happens there. All this input doesn't produce a single thought in our mind. So your senses are there, it is responding, but it is not creating a thought. It is not creating any thought in our chitta state, the mind state. And this is the state of pratyahara. Okay, now once we are practicing this state of pratyahara, now what we are trying to do is we are trying to cut down all the distractions from different sources, from the outwards to our senses. Now we can have a single thought which we can focus on, and that is desha bandhas chittasya dharana. So you have a single thought to focus on, and that becomes dharana, where you are putting an effort initially to focus on that single thought. And now as you are putting an effort, so finally the effort ceases to exist, and then tatra pratyekatanata dhyanam. So now you are reaching the stage of dhyana, where there is uninterrupted flow of your mind, or your entire chitta is only the object of your focus, and that too without any effort. And that's the next state of dhyana. And now finally, what is the goal of all these things? We are doing this practice. They should have some intention or some goal towards all these things, right? And Patanjali has already given that goal in the first chapter itself. He is saying samadhi. That's the ultimate aim for it. And in Ashtanga Yoga also he repeats this. Finally, when you are able to control your mind to that extent, finally you are reaching a state. Tadevarthamatra nirbhasam swarupa shunyamiva samadhihi. Finally you are reaching a state of superconscious state, you can say, which is nothing but your samadhi state, where you are able to control completely at all different levels, you can say, physical level, mental level, emotional level, psychic level, intellectual level, whatever levels you can, right? When you are able to have complete control on all your entire being itself, and that's the state of samadhi. And one of the Vyasa's commentary says the whole goal of yoga itself is samadhi. So whatever we are starting to learn the chantings today, ultimately the whole goal of what we are chanting is for us to attain that samadhi. So that should be the motto of all of us, to get to there eventually one day. Fine. So with that, probably I don't know how much time will be left if I continue talking. So with that small gist of it, and we're all in the journey now. So including myself and you, all of us are starting this journey of yoga, and you're all like masters in Yoga Sutra chanting. So in case if I have done any mistakes in my chantings, kindly excuse me for that. So because I know there's a lot of things to learn from the way to chant from all of you here, because you're all experts in this field. And so with this small introduction about the Yoga Sutras, and so let us make an attempt from now on to do the second two parts of it, Manana and Nididhyasana, for the rest of our lives. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Prithvi Bhagini.
Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. Many thanks, Abhinan Mahodaya.
Thank you. I think I can't hear you.
Yes, I think I'm audible now. Oh, yeah. Namaste Sarvebhyah. First of all, thank you very much, Vinay Mahodaya, for making time. In fact, I must tell the audience that he instantly agreed despite his busy schedule. You can see that his yoga class is ready for the morning classes, if I am right. A wonderful campus which he has got, in which he is seated now currently. So I would personally again thank Vinay Mahodaya for making time to be a part of this event. And I would also want to tell about his Yoga Vijnana, the trust which he runs. It's a really interesting story. You all must visit his website yogavijnana.in, wherein he was into mountaineering, and then he realized that yoga could help him better. So any trekkers and hikers out there, really you must reach out to Vinayji if you want to scale new heights. And besides, the Yoga Vijnana conducts corporate classes, online classes. Amidst pandemic, they have trained many learners on yoga, and they have this holistic approach towards yoga. Maybe that's why they have named the institution as Yoga Vijnana. So that's a really interesting facility available here in Bangalore. Of course, for those outside Bangalore, the online mode is always there. So I urge everyone to approach Vinayji if you want to learn further from his organization. It was a great pleasure to have you, sir. And also, as how you said about the importance of practice, that's something which each one of us should inculcate. The teachings of yoga are not, as you said, it's not only limited to asanas or something. It must be imbibed in our daily lives. So I would personally take that message from you for my own life as well. Thank you very much for being a part. And now I'll move on to the further happenings of this course. Yeah. So students, welcome back. I would, of course, Sriprada Bhagini mentioned the assessment details. I have displayed the same thing here. This will be an oral assessment, both memorization, those who want to memorize and those who want to read out from the book from any source is also acceptable. Both are acceptable. The date is on Tuesday, 1st of February to 2022. The timing is from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Please note it's in the evening hours so that many of us can join across the globe. And the platform is Zoom. Further details will be mailed to you shortly. And yeah, after this, I would like to move to our humble appeal, Vyoma's appeal. It is less of an appeal, and we would just want to share our experiences through this journey. So we are happy to announce or even put forth that there are 18 plus multimedia products which we are offering. There are 250 plus free courses and many live webinars, and 16 mobile apps which are also free again. Around 6,000, and now it's crossing beyond that, 6,000 video recordings, and around hoping 42,000 learners who are committed day in and day out, each one of you who comes in for each of our classes. So this is our strength. This is the strength and the the main the cherry point of Vyoma. So all this have been possible only by your generous support. So we really thank you for that. And if you want to help us further, yeah, as I said, there is this Japanese saying called, with the sunrise comes the struggle. So like, we work every day to make our next future, the next day, more happy. So in that sense, this assessment is something which is required for every learner. So how can you help us is put out here. We have 3 major points. First one is by learning what is taught in the class. I'm sure our chief guest Vinayji and also Sriprada Bhagini, our teacher, will definitely acknowledge this, that the best gift which someone can give to the teacher is spend time daily on what is learned in the class, and study it well, and be prepared for any assessment. The second one is by teaching what you have learned after you have learned and completed your assessment. And when you all pass out with good scores in your assessment, you should be in a position to teach it to other students, at least 3+ students, so that the knowledge is transmitted. So knowledge flourishes only when it's passed on to different people. And the third one is, of course, by referring Vyoma's courses, products to each and everyone who is in your circle, who is interested to learn more about Sanskritam and want to be a part of this movement. So besides this, however, we have other options where you can help us. So we have you can donate. We would be humble receivers of your donation, and you can go to your home page, click on this donate option which you see here, and then you would be led to the different various options. Currently we have these 3 options. You can donate from the website, or you can also do a NEFT, RTGS or IMPS on the online transfer, or else you can also post a check if that is feasible to you, to this address. This is the name, Sri Venkat Subramanian Mahodaya, and the NEFT details, bank account details are given here. Of course, you can donate from our website sanskritfromhome.org, which you are using currently for logging to our Learn to Chant Yoga Sutras of Patanjali course. Yeah, for users from US, to get tax benefit under the 501c, you can you can pay through PayPal. You can see this QR code here, and use the same to donate if you want to make any donations. And the third, if there is any other foreign currency which you would like to use for donation, you can use this FCRA bank account, which we have provided here. This is a different account. All these are there on our homepage as well. When you go to this sanskritfromhome.org, you can make a note of this. Yes, and apart from this, we also have our contacts here. You can call, or we're always available on WhatsApp call. We have our live other support mechanisms for chat box. We are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. Our COO Sri Venkat Subramanian Mahodaya and our CEO Vishwanathan Mahodaya, they are the main founders and the operations officers who control the whole vyoma structure. So we thank them as well through this, and request you all to be part of our movement. Yeah, we iterate, this is purely optional. There is no compulsion or binding on any one of us, any one of you, for contributing. It's optional, and if someone is interested in providing any other kind of service like volunteering for our various day-to-day tasks, that is also totally acceptable. You can click on volunteer here in the same page, in our homepage, and maybe you'll be asked to fill out a form, and you can reach out to us through that as well. Yeah, thank you, and I once again wish you all happy learning. Learn Sanskrit and be really happy. And now I'll pass on the stage to Prithvi and make my day. Thank you very much for staying here. After Prithvi's vote of thanks, we'll be having a feedback session. Request all of you to stay for that. Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha, Mahodaya. So my pranams to our very esteemed chief guest for the day, all the elders and friends present here. We are truly blessed and humbled to be a part of this journey. My namaskara rupa dhanyavada to our chief guest, Sri Vinay Siddhaya Mahodaya, for the wonderful insights on yoga and also elucidating on some of the gems of the Yoga Sutras. Thank you for helping us get a glimpse of the essence of yoga, Mahodaya. My heartfelt gratitude to our dearest teacher, Sriprada Indrakanti Mahodaya. Also thank our e-learning administrator, Abhinan Mahodaya, the volunteers, and the entire Vyoma team for helping us at every step of this blissful journey. So Vishesha Dhanyavadaha to all the attendees who have made this journey possible. Many thanks to all the well-wishers, donors, friends for their pratyaksha and paroksha presence, prayers and wishes. So one of the sutras says, Satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara sevito dridha bhumihi. Let us all continue the repeated practice of the Yoga Sutras and also continue with the Mananam, Nididhyasanam, as well as participate in the Samarpanam or the assessments, which we will have shortly. So I request Abhinan Mahodaya to coordinate for the feedback session. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you, Prithvi Bhagini.
And also,
thanks to you as well.
Just a few seconds, and thank you so much for inviting me for this wonderful early morning session. And thanks to Vyoma, thanks to Venkat sir and Vishwanath sir for letting me be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Really blessed to have you on as a guest, a chief guest today. Thank you. Yeah. Now we'll move to the feedback session. Request the students if you want to provide any feedback to us. You can raise your hands and we can start with the feedback. I think should I start with Bhavani ji? Bhavani Mahodaya.
Abhinan Mahodaya, namaskaram.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
I just wanted to personally thank everybody before the feedback session. Firstly, Vyoma team for giving me this opportunity to have a platform to express what I have learned to 10 more students. And of course, the students themselves for showed so much interest throughout the session. And Vinayji for coming in short notice as the chief guest, as well as Venkat Mahodaya for initiating the session itself, and Vishwanath Mahodaya and Saumya Bhagini for supporting us and guiding us throughout this process, and as well as the ELA, of course, Abhinan Mahodaya, as well as Prithvi Bhagini for being a very supportive and helpful panelist. Thank you. We can move to the feedback session, Mahodaya.
Sure. Thank you, Sriprada ji, for conducting this. If I have missed telling this, definitely the session has been successful because of you. So, and yeah, thank you, Prithvi, as well. Yeah, I think one Bhushan Mahodaya. has raised.
Yes, I'll just take 30 seconds maybe.
Yeah, sure.
My humble pranams to Indrakanti Mohodaya. It's a wonderful journey, wonderful experience. We are blessed to have you and then being taught by you. So thank you so much, and it's a wonderful journey. And also thanks to Prithvi Bagni, the wonderful journey. And I'm blessed to be a part of this event. And thank you.
Thank you, Mohodaya. Next we have Sri Chakradhar Mohodaya.
Excellent.
Chakradhar Mohodaya.
Are you audible?
Yes, Mohodaya. Please do share your feedback.
So the teaching has been excellent from Sriprada Madam. The word by word teaching really helps to know where exactly to pause, how exactly to read the complete sutra. Initially, when a couple of big sutras came, it was really difficult to know how to tell the entire sutra. But after a couple of classes and revision classes that were conducted by Prithvi Bhagini also, it became very, very easy to even tell the big sutras. Some of them like Vyadhisthana, Samshaya, all of that are, everything has to be told in one breath. Initially, I was thinking that it's not possible, but after a couple of practice sessions, it became really easy, and we can really understand that it's not too complex to learn if we have good teacher and we have a little bit of effort from our end. Thanks to Vyoma for conducting this session. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha Mohodaya. Lakshamrita ji Mohodaya.
Ram Mohodaya, Ram Bhagini, Suprabhatam.
Yeah.
So before I enrolled to this course, I thought Yoga Sutra was lengthy and was difficult to chant. But as I enrolled and started to chant and learn, it was easy. Now I can chant by myself without any support or by any help without others. I thank to my teacher Sriprada Indrakanti and to Vyoma to providing this opportunity to learn this Yoga Sutras. Dhanyavada. Ram.
Dhanyavada. Ram. Next we have Ranga Mohodaya.
Dhanyavada Mahodaya. I have one doubt is so now I know much better how to chant. Is this the same chanting style can be utilized in chanting other like a Bhagavad Gita, others? Is there any different style?
Yes, Sriprada ji, do you want to answer that?
Bhagavad Gita is in Anushtup Chandas. So there is a meter for every shloka, and sutras do not contain that meter. So that is the reason why we have used a little tune to help us chant, like Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha, just so that it's easy for you to practice. But Bhagavad Gita already has a fixed meter. So there are certain places already fixed to stop, and where you have to say the certain letters. So you don't need to change it in any way because it's already fixed.
Oh, okay. Dhanyavada Bhagini. The one more question I have is for this assessment, 6:30 to 8:30 Indian Standard Time. each individual will have a specific slot of time, or everybody has to sit through the whole? What is the format of assessment?
Mahodaya, I'll be answering that. The thing is, I'll be sending you all a mail. Depending on the number of registrants, we will try to give slots for everyone. But if there are too many, too less number of registrants, then you might have to stay back. But then mostly we would try to give a fixed time slot between that. We'll give you the option to choose the time slot also. It would be a 10 to 15 minutes based assessment. After that, you can leave. There's no this thing.
Okay.
So you'll all the details will be mailed to you shortly, sir.
Okay, thank you. And the other question I have is, I think the complete recording of the all 4 chapters.
Yes.
Is it already available, or it will be available?
Yeah, the class recordings are already available. One more complete recording by the teacher Kumari Sriprada will be uploaded shortly. We are already working on that. She has sent her recordings. We'll be uploading it shortly, and maybe you'll also get a mail that the complete recording is been uploaded. Keep checking your dashboard, student dashboard, whenever you are free. So we would upload that.
Dhanyawad. I really enjoyed the course. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and Yogesh Singh ji, if I'm right.
I would like to thank Vyoma Labs for this wonderful course. The teachers, the content, presentation, punctuality, starting on the time, finishing on the time management, student management, answering the queries, everything was just perfect. It cannot be better than this. Or maybe Vyoma can make it further better by their standard, meeting their standard. But from my view, it cannot be better than this. So this was really very amazing course. As the request is there from chanting, the full chanting, may I also request for Anucharanam chanting also, so that, because we are in learning mode, we can put it on there, and then just once Sriprada is chanting, and then we can do repetitive chanting, and that way in 30 days we can do the Kanthasikaranam of this. So that's a request, if possible.
I've made a note of this. I'll definitely think how far, how to the best possible extent, we'll try putting an Anucharanam video also.
Sure. Then.
Thank you, Madhu. I think last is Bhavani Sundarji.
Sarvebhyah namaskara.
Namaskara.
Surite Bagni. Hello, Surite. Actually, it's a wonderful journey. It's a wonderful journey, sir. I feel it is, in a short period, I feel it is ended so soon. But we would like to have the each and every word meaning of the Patanjali Sutra. If any audio available or anything classes, then it will be very useful for us also. But precisely Vinay Mahodaya, he explained, it was very useful to us. But anyway, my association with Vyoma is wonderful. I thank Vyoma wholeheartedly. And especially Madam, she, in a nice way, she explained everything. And we were able to, I'm sure we are able to learn. But Kanthaparayanam is the, that is what we should be our aim. Because almost to that extent, she has taught everyone. I know everybody can to practice with the book to some extent. So if we should plan to go for the step ahead. And one more request from Vyoma. Actually, I learned Raghuvira Gadyam. But I would like to learn Srinivasa Gadyam also.
Okay.
So if any this thing is going, really will be happy.
Sure,
and
sir.
Yes, other webinar classes and all I am attending really from webinar. Like for Chittoor exam or Tirupati exam or so many classes, really it is a useful and wonderful platform. Really, I would like to continue my journey with Vyoma till my last breath. Thank you, everyone, to whole team. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely inform you if this thing, Srinivasa Gadyam is started, we plan to start or something, we would definitely have a launch, course launch for that whenever it is decided. Thank you for bringing up this suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lastly, we have Arun Mahodaya.
Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
Sorry if you hear some background noise. I'm actually traveling somewhere, but if you hear,
No,
apologies. Yeah, so actually I would like to thank first of all Vyoma. I mean it's a true reflection of our culture, which is a Guru Shishya culture basically, and Vyoma in this COVID time have actually use the make the best use of the online technology to reach out to everyone, to make this available to the seekers who actually want to learn and chant how to chant, learn Sanskrit or sutras or shlokas, etc. So really like to thank to Vyoma first, to make this opportunity. I think we should realize this is something which is part of our culture tradition, and we should definitely uh, follow follow the principles what we had, what our gurus and what our teachers has had imbibed in all of us, but we just need to realize those principles. Secondly, I would like to thank Sriprada ma'am for the best class for chanting. Usually, like when we see in the modern education, often it goes that once you are learning something in online, you don't get too much attention. But with these many number of people, each individual of us, we do get attention one by one. Everyone gets chance to chant and then get corrected individually. So yeah, I really like to thank Shri Prada Bhagini, and all the volunteers, all the contributors of Vyoma who has contributed. So really grateful to have you all here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahodaya. I think Mahesh Mahodaya.
Mahesh Mahodaya.
Yeah, Jai Hind, sir. More than learning the chanting, I have learned so many other things. For example, I have learned how to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning. And actually, I just wondered why did our civilization last so long? Because when I see Vyoma and when I see teachers, Madam Sripada and Madam Prithvi, so what is their motivation to get up at 6 a.m. and teach us? So I wish I could, in addition to learning that chanting, also imbibe some of their motivation and drive. So thank you, ma'am, for motivating us also and teaching us also. I'm really grateful. God bless.
Thank you, Mahodaya. Yeah, so I think that sums up our last class. Once again, I thank Sriprada ji for making this course a success, and the success is really seen in how the students are waiting to give the feedback. So really happy for that. And on behalf of Vyoma, I thank Sriprada ji and also Prithvi ji for helping Sriprada ji throughout the course. So. And I also thank Vinay ji. He just exited from this meeting. Thank you for your wonderful presence and your wonderful speech. Yeah, with this, I would like to conclude with a short prayer. Sriprada ji, if you want to chant the closing prayers also, I'm fine. Yeah.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.